Good morning everyone, my name is Scotty and welcome to my first Minecraft video. Today's episode is the start of a series where I plan to create a build for every block in Minecraft. I'm very excited and hope to improve my building skills, so let's get into the rules before I reveal the build. The rules are quite simple, though just to make it easier for me, block variants are included if they are a similar design, or can be crafted from the original block. However, not all variants are included as one. Really, it's just up to me. Builds won't be just one block, they just need to invoke that the block is the main focus, so I can shade with other blocks and detail with other blocks. So, for example, I could have a brick build and still use smooth stone in the build. It just needs to resemble I mainly used brick. Now that I hopefully cleared up what I'm doing, time to get into the build. So the current build that I'm working on is for the oak blocks and the oak block variants. So it's the stripped logs, the normal logs, the planks, all that sort of stuff. It's basically what all of the wood is going to be, just because I think it would be way too much work to just have the logs different to the planks. It just seems like too much. And I do plan on filling this entire world with all of the builds. Something I will say is that not everything that I'll be talking about in this video will be about the build specifically. I don't even have a script for this. I had a script for the beginning and the end, but I don't have anything here. In between recording the intro and the recording of now, I got very sick, so I might sound different. I don't know. I don't like listening to my voice, which is a bit of an issue for someone who's making YouTube videos, but I don't think there's many people who like listening to their voice. But yeah, no. So the design of this build, it's a Firewatch tower. I took a lot of inspiration from the game, obviously. I like Firewatch. It's a good game. I loved it. Very beautiful game. I remember building it. I messed with a lot of the shape. The shape right now, you're gonna see me completely like ruin it, basically. I think this build took me roughly I'd like to say 3 hours, but that it's difficult to say. The recording of it was 2 days. It was a span of 2 days, because halfway through it I just wasn't feeling terrain at that moment. I do terrain in the area, so there's just different clips and stuff like that. I will also like to apologize for the camera in this video. I'm using the replay mod, and like the fool that I am, after editing the replay, I didn't check all of the movements for the cameras. I was just briefly checking in between some, so in later parts of the video, the camera will clip through blocks and stuff like that, so it's very distracting, and you won't be able to see. There is a solid, like, I'd say at most a minute of just staring at a block. Unfortunately, I deleted the original files, because I thought that it was okay. I will keep in mind to not do that for future videos. Basically, with this entire series, I just wanted to have some little videos of getting better at building. I love Minecraft building. I love creating in general, little stories and stuff like that. It's just nice. It's fun. And I will say, this isn't my favorite build that I've ever made. I've made really cool builds in the past. If I'm able to, I'll see if I have any screenshots of things that I've built before. The issue with a lot of the things I've built before is that a lot of them were on servers that got deleted pretty quickly, and I didn't take that many pictures or screenshots. Oh, here's me just like thinking. There was a lot of I never used the replay mod before, so in this moment I think my mum actually called me or something. Yeah, there we go. I think I was just like figuring out what to do and all of that stuff, getting images. I had a file of some images, so I'll show those as well. I don't know the origins of all of the images that I found, but I'll put them there just to be like, hey, I used these. I will say there were a lot of things that tripped me up on this. I had never built anything like this before. I will say that I usually go for houses and stuff. I built a lot of caves as well in a lot of older servers that I've been on, because I usually went with the medieval dragon scheme. My mega bases were always these giant caves full of treasures and all that sort of stuff. There's me messing around with the debug wand. I mess around with the debug wand a little too much. Or sorry, the debug stick. I like calling it a wand. Little fairy wand. But yeah, no, I've realized I don't like the colors. I felt like the stripped logs they didn't contrast well with the oak floor. It felt too one note. So obviously I changed that to oak logs. Again, it's really just having the idea of using oak is what these builds are gonna be. I feel like this was difficult for me because I rarely use oak in builds unless it's the only block I have, just because I feel like it's such a neutral block in my mind, that I don't use it as a primary focus. Usually I will use spruce and dark oak. I'm very basic when it comes to favorite woods. I actually haven't messed around with mangrove, mostly because I play a lot of modded, and a lot of modded is in 1.16. And prior, either that or it's modded and it has all of these many colorful blocks, so it's just like it just slips my mind. But I can't wait to use to see what I'll do for the mangrove one. I do not have many plans for the builds. I want to use I do know that I want a boat. I want a boat build, but I can't figure out what I want the primary one to be. In my mind, I'm thinking of something like Charon's ship in Hades 2. I'll try and get a picture up for that. If not, I'll just go open the game and get a screenshot of that. I love Hades 2, and I really am inspired by both Hades games. So I feel like in the future a lot of my builds will be based off of that. A lot of my builds in general are based off of video games. That's our Ring doorbell going off. Thank you for interrupting my voiceover. Oh, is that my younger brother? Oh, sorry about that. My younger brother just got home, so I had to go say hi to him. Oh god, I forgot about this part of the video. There's me messing with World Edit and realizing I'm bad at it. I couldn't get what I was doing. I tried using the brush, it didn't work. I feel like I could figure out what I was doing wrong, but I was like, no, I'm recording this and I don't want more pauses of just me Googling stuff, because my silly self didn't realize I could just pause the recording instead of just standing still for ages. But there's a shading with some spruce. I think it was a really spruce, and I was streaming the builds to my friends actually during this part, and I was debating spruce or dark oak. I believe I settled on dark oak just because it had that rightness to it, I guess. It looked better, and it's called dark oak, so it makes a lot more sense. And there's me shading the top of the building as well. I will say I went very heavy on the shading with blocks. I love shading with blocks. It's like 3D painting, really, when it comes to building sometimes. It's really fun. I will say at one point I overdo it, and then I backtrack it, so you'll see me go around the base with the darker color, and I realized I didn't like it. It didn't look right. So I changed that up. There is very, very small hints of strip birch at the top. Just because I thought that looked a lot better, a lot nicer. Because that's where the light will be showing. The light will be coming from the same direction. In this entire world, I have the time frozen, so all of the builds will look like they're in this 3D area instead of just being this like flat collection of builds. I want it to look like they're a part of something and they're together. Here's me working on the stairs. There was a brief moment of me trying to build the stairs underneath. Then I realized that the top was a bit too small for me to do that. Because the way the legs, I guess, of the Firewatch Tower, they were too diagonal, so I couldn't do anything like that. Unfortunately, the stairs, I feel like I tried figuring out something to add a railing. I think the only real way I could have changed it would be to use armor stands, and I use armor stands a lot. I love using armor stands. Here's me actually. Will I do some of the armor stand stuff here? I don't know. Maybe not. But here's another clip of just the camera not doing too hot. I should have watched these before deleting the original recordings. I'll do that in future. I'm not professional. But yeah, no, I was very proud of the build in general. There are a lot of aspects that I think I will change. If I finish this, I might upload the world, and I feel like I'll get better by the end of it, so I will probably change this. Oh yeah, I add a fireplace because I saw a fireplace in one of the images. I thought that was really cute. So there's me panning out. Oh, I got the little compass in the center. That's what I was doing. If you ever seen those Firewatch towers, I saw this one that had basically this shelving unit underneath their map. It's kind of like a map compass thing. I don't know how to describe it, mostly because I don't actually know what it does or how it works. I just know that it's round and it looks like a map, but it's also like a compass sorta. Yeah, but here's me doing the little fireplace and uncomfortably zooming closer into my name because I just didn't look at the recording. Why didn't I do that? It was the stupidest thing ever to do, and by the end of this, it took me 6 hours, like, just rendering on its own with the replay mod, and I had already finished watching like an entire series by the end of it, because literally I was just watching some stuff on Netflix and I was just like, I'll just wait for it to render, and I just didn't check the recording. This was my fault. This is a really silly fault, mistake. I'm not very good with English right now. My brain, I have not thought in like the past 2 days. I think it's like a sinus infection or something. Something is wrong with my my poor little brain right now. There will be better moments where you'll be able to see the interior, so you'll be able to see the fireplace a lot better. Here's me getting some paintings. I end up going with the rose from the newest painting, it's not really a painting update specifically, but when they added all those new paintings, they added one that was just a singular rose, and I thought it was really cute. There we go. I forgot to start recording basically when I did this, but basically I added a little flag. I thought that was really nice. And I just changed the stone to grass blocks. That's what it is. Oh gosh. I don't even think I moved the camera much on this one. In the background you see the tree that I'm making, and oh boy, is it a tree. It's the worst tree I have ever made. I haven't made many trees. I'm not a tree builder. I don't do a lot of natural stuff that isn't caves, so I'm a lot more used to like having these vines and bushes and stuff as opposed to trees. I made a mega base that was a tree. It wasn't finished though because the world got reset before I could do that. That was wild. But this is a horrible tree, and that is. I had been boasting about it so much. Not boasting. It's like the opposite of boasting. Downplaying? I don't know. I hate this tree. It's the worst tree. And if anything, I'm gonna change that. I feel like after this, I'll change it. That's something I don't want to record. I don't want to just add a clip of me fixing that awful tree. I don't know if in this clip I'll have some of the other decorations. There's an entire switch quality speed. My editing software is telling me things. I really do not know what I was doing with this clip. I think it was just me showing off the stuff and all that. Let me just hold on. Just took a moment to cut off my recording just to see what was going on in this clip, and I'm realizing I didn't edit the camera that much. It just slowly pans down. I don't know what I was doing. What was I doing? In the next clip, the camera is a lot better. It's a lot more clean. It's all that kind of stuff. You'll just see a spontaneous burst of flowers suddenly appear, and grass and all that stuff. All the good little details and all that jazz. So that's good. That's nice. I will say I do love the shadow this has and the shape that it has. I wish I could find a way to have the staircase feel a lot more like attached instead of just this thing that's like next to it. I didn't really know how to do that, especially with the shape of the tower. A lot of just trying to figure out stuff, and obviously I was starting to get sick during this. I wasn't like fully insane as I am right now. My brain is melting, but there's me doing some mostly coarse dirt and some mud on the underneath. Again, this is a horrible camera angle to share it with, but you know, that's fine. We get to look at the clouds. And see the flowers. I chose whites and purples for the flowers. I say whites, it's like lily of valley, peonies, and lilacs. I guess peonies are technically pink. Here's a much better shot, actually. This was the next day. I immediately went to just round it off. I forgot that this island is at the lowest level. So the reason that it's such a shallow island, it's almost like a dish, really, is because I have it at the lowest build height, so I couldn't go farther or anything like that. Oh god, you see that tree? It is a awful tree. Again, I'm gonna fix that. I really need to fix that. I'm still hung up on that tree. It's a horrible tree. I don't know if you're able to see it, but I also made a custom mushroom, a little toadstool. Mostly because I wanted a much larger mushroom underneath the tree, but I also didn't want to, like, build one because that felt too large, so I just had a little armor stand with some dyed leather armor to have white, and then have a little block as its head. A little red mushroom block. There's a little mud path, as you can see, that goes from the stairs. I wanted it to have a story to it. Oh, I almost sneezed. I had to check if I was gonna sneeze. I just had to pause there. There's me on the inside. I believe I was making a little chair just so that it could, and this is something I'm really proud of. I made a telescope using a spyglass and some breeze rods. Obviously we don't have any like white spyglass, and I don't really want to use a texture pack for anything. I just have shaders on. So we just got a spyglass. Originally I use a netherite sword. If you look at telescopes, they'll have this sort of like stand, almost, this like the little plastic bits that will basically hook around the telescope itself, and I wanted to have something like that, but then I realized that felt too much, and also it just didn't look right. So you'll see that I immediately destroy it after seeing it in place. Yeah. So it was just like just checking all angles. It wasn't really good. So instead, I just went in with the breeze rods and went ham. Obviously, it's just 3 breeze rods on each side. I tried making it so it would be at least like 2 armor stands at most for the breeze rods, but then I realized it didn't look right, so I had to use 3. It's not like this is a server, it's entirely my computer. It's not like it's gonna lag anything else. It's just purely my fault, if anything. Really proud of this little spyglass. I did see a picture of someone's like Firewatch tower like interior, and it had a telescope on the inside with an open window, and I was thinking about that, but I didn't want there to be too many armor stands inside, and I wanted something on the outside. I feel like a telescope would be the best on the outside. It would look a lot more like prominent. Again, it gives it more life. I want life. I want a story. And I wanted just something else. I realized that the breeze rods were too small for it, so instead of having a having them be long or anything. I decided to pop a little barrel down so it looked like they would be propped up on a little box. And here's another example of my horrible camera manipulation. I would be great at a indie horror film crew. I'd say that, and like some really good ARGs have like some pretty good cameras actually. I'm a big Marble Hornets fan. I quite like their stuff. Well, I say their stuff. I haven't read, like, I think they came out with a comic actually or something like that. I don't really care about that stuff. I just watched the original series and I was like, this is good. This is nice. Added some bushes around it. Realistically, it would be a lot more clear if it was a Firewatch tower, because you'd want to have a lot more of a clearer area around you, but I thought it was a lot nicer. I had the azalea bush leaves, or azalea tree leaves, on the outside just to give it more light. I added a little outhouse at the back. It's just a couple trapdoors and a slab. It's not like anything crazy. Here's we're gonna see probably the worst camera manipulation at it soon. Also me failing to use commands. I'm thinking about adding Axiom so that I can figure out how that works. Right now I was trying to figure out a way to add a button onto the iron bar just to make it look like a tap of sorts. Fortunately, I find a much better way. There's me just fidgeting with the debug stick because, again, I think it's my savior. And here's staring at a log for like a couple seconds straight. It's just the worst thing ever. But I finally find a way that makes it look like a tap. I don't know if I'll be able to see it actually, just because of how slow the camera is, and again, the awful angles. But basically, I use a goat horn on an armor stand, and it looks exactly like a tap. And I use some glass blocks, some dark blue glass blocks, I'm pretty sure, as the, yeah, you see me turn the horn there. As just some drips of water. I was thinking of adding a puddle of something at the bottom, but I decided to not do that and instead have dirt around the area just to make it seem like it's all muddy and stuff. I really like this angle. It's mildly ruined by the really bad tree, and here is the shot of the actual Firewatch tower with our Firewatch Ranger. Finally, the finished one. We'll see a lot better angles. I think this is one that I looked at a lot better. It's a lot cleaner. You see the blocks a lot clearer. We'll see him go down the stairs and then go to the tap. Right there, you can see the blocks. You can see the goat horn in that. It's really nice. Again, I'm actually very proud of this build. I don't think it was terrible. I do really want to fix that tree. However, it doesn't really matter. I will fix it later in the future, just at some point. Probably next video, I'll show off some changes. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Wherever you are, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.